Welcome to No More BullShift. I'm Peggy.
And I'm Marcy.
We are two women who believe that life's trials aren't happening to us, they're happening for us.
And we're here to help you turn every why me into watch me.
Because shifting out of victim mode and into empowerment is what we do best.
So join us as we cut through the bullshift and help you see how strong you really are.
Okay, so.
All right, let's jump into it. Okay. First of all, I just want to say, if you're wondering, like, why a podcast? Why YouTube? How'd you meet? Let's answer all the questions.
All the questions, because I don't know about you, but when I listen to people, I'm like, okay, but are you a hot mess in your real life? Like, what does it all really look like? Like, you're selling me this, but like the people who come out and they're like, this is how you need to lose weight. And these are the steps that you need to take to lose weight. And they've never weighed more than 110 pounds in their life. I'm like, I'm sorry. You don't have much authority over me on that one. I need to see the struggle. I need to know you've been there and you know what I feel like.
Yes, I totally agree. I mean, part of it for me personally, that at first I was like, yeah, kind of an advice column type podcast.
Like Dear Marcy.
Kind of, yeah. I have so many clients that I do their hair and we have deep talks. And so many clients will text or tell me, I love my hair so much, but I love like our therapy session or our conversation. And I know my physical body can only do so much physical work at the salon, but I feel like this is a platform, podcasting in general, that can reach and help so many. So I don't want people to just selfishly absorb this, but if you feel like the message could help someone else, share it, because I really feel like that is a big part of our purpose on life, is to love others, love ourselves, help others, help ourselves, all the things. But for me, that's like one of the bigger messages.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, everybody thinks you that people start a podcast because they want to be, rich and famous. And the odds are not on your side.
Right.
Like, if that's your goal, I'm sorry, sir, but that is move along. Because the odds, it's just like being a star in Hollywood, right? How many people show up in LA and think they're going to make it big? The percentages just aren't in your favor. But if you go into it with your heart in the right place, like, that's why we're doing this. And if that happens, great.
Yes.
Yeah, like, bring it on, universe. But the bigger goal for I think for both of us is to pay it forward.
Yes.
We've been fortunate that we've not had easy lives, but we've been able to transcend difficulty and turn it into opportunity.
Totally. And I think I think everyone has trials and tribulations in life, and we're just here to empower people, like, you got this. Yeah. And like, believe in yourself and believe in like higher power, higher good guiding you through the storm.
And selfishly, I just want to create something I wish I had when I was going through those times.
Yes.
I think what it is, a driving motivation.
Totally. Or even think for our children. Like, if something insane happened where we're like hit by a train on our way home, like, we would be
Let it go fast if that happens.
We don't want to be like losing limbs and then the bleed out. We don't want to drag.
I don't want to be on a ventilator. Like, just take me.
But then I'm like, hey, kids, listen up. These are hot tips, and like, learn and grow, because we love you.
And there's so many people out there that are probably doing some version of the same message we're sending, and more power to them, because our people may not be their people and vice versa.
Totally.
It's just find the voice that works for you.
Totally.
So that you can live your best life.
I just gave a talk at Sinclair, and I was telling these little future hairstylists, like, find your tribe. You will find your tribe. Because like, some of these cutie pies had like purple, green, blue hair, and that's like not really my hair tribe that I like to live in. But then other ones had like beautiful blonde hair. So I just think it's like finding your following, if you will.
Yeah, and I think that's a good segue into why we created this podcast. It's about finding where you fit in the world.
Yes.
And owning that and standing in that, and hopefully empowering women to just show up in your life. Like, just show up in your life. Don't try to be Marcy's life. Don't try to be Peggy's life.
Right.
Don't try to be Pam's life.
Yes.
Like, be you.
Yeah, run in your own lane.
Yeah.
And just keep looking forward. Don't left to the right. I just think the comparison game can be so crippling.
Oh, God.
And you don't even know, you don't even know me. You don't know what people have been through,
Right. And it can be paralyzing. Like, look at this. If we were comparing our podcast and we were just out there going, well, there's 20,000 podcasts that could fall under the title of No More BullShift.
Right.
So why would people listen to us? We would stop before we even got started.
That's right.
And instead, we're just like, I'm not going to listen to that noise.
Yeah.
Because if one person listens to us and their life has changed because of it,
Yep.
totally worth it.
Totally. Yes.
Plus, it's fun as hell.
I mean, yeah, we're having so much fun. All right, Peggy, let's dive into well, first of all, we'll share how we met.
Oh, yeah. Let's tell our story. Tammy Buddha.
Yes, Tammy. And I knew Tammy, I met her, I think, when I was 23 or 24. I think I was pregnant with my second daughter, so I was probably 24. So anyways, so I knew her and we were in playgroup and raising kids together and all the things, the diapers, the potty training, coffee, goldfish, all the fun things. We'd get together every week. And I do her hair. And so I kind of met her, or so we've been close for some time. And then, go ahead, Peggy. How do you know Tammy Buddha?
Oh, well, so Tammy Buddha, like you, has not been in my life for a super long time. But she's part of the shifts that I made in my 50s. And so she was friends with a friend I've had for over 30 years, or maybe we're right at 30 years. And my friend invited me, we kind of reconnected, and she invited me to this girls' weekend, and Tammy was there. And I remember her coming in, and it was like the clouds had parted. You know how you just know when somebody is your somebody?
Yes.
And I was like, oh, this is going to be someone important in my life. I just knew it. And and indeed, she is one of my closest friends now. So, and then she introduced us. We got we are schemers, the three of us. We've always got an idea. We're always like, let's chase this thing and see where it's going.
Yeah.
And Tammy had just started a business. I was starting a business. And we were like, we don't even know how to navigate this whole online social media world. We're old. We've got nothing. And insert Marcy. So Tammy Buddha was like, I have this friend Marcy, and she had already talked about you a ton on our girls' weekend, because it ended up we started doing these girls' weekends every 6 weeks. And anyway, so it kind of fast-tracked that friendship pretty well. And she's like, we'll get together with Tammy or with Marcy, and Marcy will help us. And I was like, all right, we need a savior here. So then she started, we do this thing called Marco Polo. I don't know if you guys know it. We're not paid for it, but
Yet. Yeah. Shout out the app. If you don't have Marco Polo, get Marco Polo. As
life-changing.
Yes, I agree.
So she put us in a group, Marco Polo, and we then just kind of spilled our guts. It was just tell me everything about you. Now you tell me everything about you.
Yes.
And I remember I was driving to South Carolina for a trip to see Caroline play for her Big East Championships for tennis, and my daughter Caroline. And I don't know, was it a 7-hour drive? We were going back and forth on Marco Polo the entire time.
Yeah, it's so funny. I'd forgotten, but right away, Peggy, you were like, here's my whole life story. What's yours? And I was like, whoa, okay. We're just going to jump in here. I'm here for it. But I love that about you, Peggy. You're so willing to just be authentic and real and vulnerable and raw. And I feel like that's so refreshing in a world of filter, edited, AI, And so then I was like, okay, then I'll tell you my life story. And that's where our friendship began.
Well, and I wasn't always like that, but here's what you learn, right? As you go through things and you evolve and you do the work to become your best self, is why would I waste time?
Yeah.
It's just not worth it. Let's just find out, are we each other's person? Because I can still like you, but how much involvement are we going to have with one another? Can you get real? Can I get real? Can we be honest with each other? Can we go there? Because
Right.
I'm not interested in the alternative.
Yes.
So let's just filter that out right away.
Yes.
You know? And
Yes.
so, and you showed up. You were like, all right, we're pulling the ditties out. Let's do it. Let's just go. It was like, all right, you show me yours, I'm going to show you mine. And off we went. And it was awesome. It was so great.
Yeah. And it's so interesting. A different day, I had met a mom friend where we live and taken a walk. And because I thought, oh, she's cool. I think I want to be her friend. And on this walk, she said, I might have to cut this.
It's all good.
Maybe not. She said several
beauty of editing.
judgmental things, like several judgmental things. And like dogging this type of mom and dogging that type of mom. And I thought, oh, we're not going to get along because I just can't, I'm not into the category of
girl
like hate. I'm too old and like life's too hard to be like just doing that to humans.
Who wants that negative energy in their life? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm sorry. I've got enough karma. I don't need to pull out anymore. Like, these moms, whether you agree with them, like, even if you wouldn't have been my person, even
Sure.
if we wouldn't have resonated or I wasn't your person, no hate.
Right.
Right?
Just-
I can still have you
Yes.
teach us social media
Yes.
and be friends with you and even go have a cocktail. It's just going to be, there's just a different level
Right.
of investment and time I'm going to put in.
Right. It's the classic silver friend, gold friend,
Yeah.
bronze friend, the Olympics, you know. No, and I think that's right. I think, and you need actually all the types of the friends.
Mm-hmm.
You need the silvers and the golds and the bronze, like, you know, because no one friend can be your everything. It has to
Right.
be a mix. So,
Right.
yeah.
But I think a lot of times it's interesting. One of the things you said, and we're kind of getting off topic here, but one of the things you said is you met this mom and you went for a walk and you thought, oh, I think I want to be her friend.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're in our 40s and 50s and we are still at the place where we're like, oh, will that person be my friend? I need a friend. I don't have enough friend. You know, we crave connection
Totally.
with other human beings.
Yes.
And we're just searching for our tribe. We're searching for our people that resonate, that get us, that see us, and that we
Right.
feel safe being seen by.
Yes. Well, I think that's a good friend. A good friend can see you for who you are
And let
completely.
you be that person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe we're just meant to always be searching for that. You know what I mean? Like, let's just like take it back to prehistoric times when like people were living in tribes because they had to for like survival purposes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe I do believe humans are meant for connection and community. They're not meant to isolate.
Yeah, and we've got social media that gives us a false sense of connection.
True.
And it makes us think, well, I'm connected to, you know, I've got a couple thousand followers. I'm connected to all of these people. But when push comes to shove, how many
Right.
are your person?
Yes.
And I think it almost makes us feel lonelier.
I think that's right. I think statistically I've heard that, like the facts.
Yeah, because you have all of these people, but nobody gets you.
Yes.
So then you kind of internalize that. Like, why is nobody investing in me? Why does nobody want to spend time with me? I see all my friends out doing this. And
Right.
it's like, well, when you really boil it down,
Yeah.
are those really friends? Or are those people giving you thumbs ups and commenting, go girl, or whatever?
Right.
You know, I don't know.
Doesn't feel authentic.
It just doesn't.
I
But
agree.
You get caught up in it. You know?
I agree. No, totally agree. Yeah.
Okay, so
All right, now we're going to our individual stories.
our individual
And
stories.
I'll interview you first.
Oh,
Peggy.
I'm in the hot seat first. Thanks,
Okay.
Mars. Let's go.
Okay. So tell me a couple reasons you like to give advice and are qualified. Kind of, sort of.
Well, that's an easy question. Why do I like to give advice? Well, ultimately, I think I do like to give advice, but I almost,
You're good at it.
Oh, well, thanks. You too. Hence our podcast. Because one thing we don't lack is confidence. But it's almost a compulsion.
Okay.
It's almost like a calling. It's, you know, I've always looked at my life I'm so used to it. I'm so used to my story. You know, it just, to me, it's nothing. It's just my life.
Right.
But when I really take, a 20,000 foot view of it, I think, well, actually, that isn't normal. Maybe there
Yes.
are some things there that, when you look at it that way,
Yes.
are kind of exceptional,
Yes.
that they ended up the way that they did.
Can you share a couple of those?
Well, I think, just the fact that, I beat the statistics for one thing. I was born into a very traumatic situation. I was born into violence, and I had an abusive, alcoholic bio father who, that was just chaos. And then, my mom ended up leaving him when I was 6, and there was some trauma that went with all of that. And there was, a lot of readjusting of things. People ripped out of my life, things ripped out of my life as a result of all of that. And then it was like this shift into, well, you came from all of this chaos till about 6, and now life is calm, right? Because now you've got this stepfather, because, insert another man, and you've got a stepfather who's sort of keeping things stable, but now your mom is more into that relationship. So, and then, going through the teen years like normal, kind of that whole scene. But then I didn't go to college. I ended up having a mentor step in for me. I found my way into a career that I didn't even know I was exploring. Like, I'm 16 and I just stumbled into a gift. And I ended up being blessed to have a mentor step in, and didn't have a college degree, and went on to be a buyer in retail, and then went from being a buyer in retail to, running training and development for in-store banks for a pretty major bank in the United States. And then from that into the mommy world, and getting married and living that whole thing. And then from there into a third career, and a couple of businesses along the way, and a 30-year marriage. And, I beat the odds, really. But along the way, there were a lot of stumbling blocks. I had a daughter who had mental health issues that were pretty severe, and lots of just financial things that went into all of that. And then, you look at just repairing and healing. I was 300 pounds at one point, and lost 175 pounds, and stopped working at 50, and reinvented myself, and shifted all of the relationships in my life, because I realized that they were codependent, and they were keeping me stuck in a narrative that I didn't align with anymore. And so, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Those are really, that's a lot of really big things, too.
Yeah, and I'm glossing over some of the big ones in
Sure.
there, but yeah,
Sure.
no, there's definitely a lot of things that I look at and I say, oh, well, I could have been victim here, and I could have let that hold me back.
Yeah.
Or I could have, kept that cycle of alcoholism
Right.
going.
Right.
I could have ended up very easily marrying my high school boyfriend, and, living in a trailer and working at the Publix. Those
Yeah.
were all
Options.
trajectories that were very real options in my
Right.
world.
Right.
And
Totally. Yeah. No, I think that's powerful. And you're exactly right. Life's always about choices, and the choices lead to the next, challenge or obstacle. And you kind of just kept choosing the higher road, the bigger thought, the bigger plan.
Yeah,
And that helped you climb.
and when I look back on all of that, why do I give advice? I really believe all of those things were orchestrated for my highest good, but also for the highest good of the women I can help.
Yeah.
So
that's
I
good.
really believe that when we go through really tough things, really hard times, when we do that, it's because that's our gift to give when we transcend it.
Yeah.
Because we're showing somebody else it's possible.
Right.
You don't have to stay stuck. You don't have to choose the low road.
Right.
The high road is an option.
True.
It's not the easy option, but it is an option. And so you can rise. And how do I know? Because I did.
Yes. And you're a great example. I think a lot of people can slip into victim mentality if they didn't go to college. And you're the perfect example of like grit and hustle. You were like, nope, I got a gift, I got a talent. People are saying go this way, I can do it.
It's my superpower.
Yeah.
It honestly is. I actually think it's what made me good because I didn't, not to say there's anything wrong with getting, I mean, my children are getting college degrees. My husband is like, got a PhD. He's got enough degrees for all of us.
Yes.
Like share. But so I'm all for education. I don't want to give that message that it's not, but I'm also all for another way. Right. And when I look at it, I never had an entitlement mentality. So I was always willing to do the thing nobody ever wanted to do.
Yes.
I was always willing to just show up and do the hard thing.
Yeah.
And it kind of created an awareness for me of like watching the people, like we talk about embodying the future you, the person you want to become.
Yes.
And like I literally would study the person in the role right above where I wanted to be. And I'm like, how do they dress? How do they show up? How do they talk? What kind of things do they do? Those are the things I need to do if I want to get where they're going.
Wow.
Who do they hang out with? Where do they, and so that's what I did.
Yes.
And so it created all of these skill sets
Yes.
that a college degree would have negated me learning.
Right.
So I do think it was a superpower all along.
Yeah, totally. And almost like an alter ego. Like
Yeah.
when I'm at work, I want to look like, act like, be like that person. I'll rise to that look. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
It's like manifestation in practice. When you look at the principle of who do you want, get clear on what you want, and then get clear on who is the person that girl is.
Yeah.
Now live like that. But I
Yes.
had real life examples of those people.
Right.
So I was just like, okay, this is what you do to become this person.
Yeah.
And I did that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. That's good.
Yeah. So how about you, Marcy? Tell us, why are you qualified? Why do you like to give advice?
Okay.
And why are you qualified to do so?
Well, part of me feels I like to because I like to challenge the way people think, like through life coach training and studying of humans and being surrounded by different humans. I just think some people go to these default negative thoughts and their thoughts they've thought forever, and I really like to challenge that. And I've always been into self-help and self-growth, and even in high school, I had 50 questions I'd come up with, and I was interviewing different people, asking them all these questions. Like I was going to write a book was my thought.
Yeah.
So
It's not too late.
I've always loved humans, and my harder moments in my life. And I was actually just talking to my kids about this last night because I gave this talk today at a community college to some cosmetology students. And I was like, girls, what are some things I've overcome? And so one of them said, my parents divorced when I was 16, and it was in the 90s or early 2000s, I guess. And my mom moved across the country, and I was not given a choice, which parent do you want to go to? It was just, you're staying with your dad in Ohio. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom. My dad was an engineer that worked full-time and kind of longer hours. And I would have picked to go with my mom just because she was my stay-at-home parent, so I was much closer with her. But with her leaving, the same year my sister left for college, so it was literally just me and my dad, and I'm extroverted, he's very introverted, in this house that felt like a tomb at times. It was empty. We had no pets. Later he bought me a dog because he's the best. But it was really hard, and I was really sad. And I can genuinely say I had a bout of depression looking back, slept a ton. And I was just really sad. And my mom was so far away, so I didn't get to see her hardly, And, you could talk on the phone and stuff, but not the same. So anyways, for years, I held this thought that was how could my mom abandon me? How could she leave me? I just held on to this, and I was so upset. And through life coaching and time, I slowly realized, and it took time because I had to baby step my way there. One of the first thoughts that I decided to kind of chew on a little bit, consider, is my mom must have been really in a hard place to be able to walk away from me. you know, like that. She must have been really struggling to.
And what age were you when you came up with that thought? When was that?
Yeah, good question. I was probably like, I was already well into adulthood, like 26, 27, 28.
You were a mom.
Totally. I was a mom. And I remember, you know, after I had my children, I still was really struggling with this past situation because I had all these kids and I thought, how could you ever do this? You know, like, I mean, the minute you have a baby, you're like, I will jump in front of a bullet for this child that I just gave birth to, but I don't even know their personality or anything. So, really struggled. And then over time, and I have to just say, my dad was amazing, you know, when it was just the two of us. But there were awkward moments, like in a dressing room trying on prom dresses. I would be asking strange women that didn't know me, like, can you zip this for me? You know, or I'd be like, Dad, I'm on my period. I need you to go get tampons. Like, such an awkward conversation. Like, we were not, he's so introverted and I'm so extroverted. We were not having those conversations normally. Like, my husband is more outgoing and talkative with my kids. So I think my kids would totally be like, Dad, tampons. Yeah, you know, it would be fine.
Well, it's a different time.
It's a total, yeah, true. So, so over time, you know, I worked on more thoughts and we had hard moments. I mean, I had some like hard conversations with my mom because I was still just so hurt, like well into adulthood. And then I realized one day, had my mom stayed, and she was the stay-at-home parent, I would have never been as close to my dad as I am now. And my dad is such a rock of a human in our lives, and kind and gentle and calm. And I'm so close with him now. And I would have never had that had she stayed. So it turns out, like, my thought now is I'm grateful she left. It was kind of that hard tear off the Band-Aid moment, like, that I needed, that, you know.
That's so beautiful because I feel exactly the same way about my situation. And I just had this conversation at a dinner with some other women, and we were kind of talking about the hard things, right? So that was coming up, like, what are we needing to release? What do we need to let go of? And I brought up, like, can you find gratitude?
Oh, yes.
Can you find the gratitude here? Can you see the lesson or the gift?
Yes.
I like to say the gift, like the gift that this situation gave you.
Yes.
Because there's always a gift.
Right.
If we can shift our mindset, there's always a gift and there's always something to be grateful for.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
But that's the healing.
Yeah, that's right. I agree. I think that's exactly where the healing lives.
I think you know you're healed when you can find the gratitude.
Yeah. I think, yeah, totally. And that also, I think when you're really in a confident place, and it doesn't, I mean, I'm saying there are people in the world that shouldn't be forgiven. If somebody was abusive or, you know, whatever, and you don't want to like be friends with them, you can still like not hold the grudge, not hold the anger, not hold the resentment, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like you have to, never should you stay in a toxic situation
100%.
or permit toxicity.
Or try to like change your thought about it into something
Right.
good.
This wasn't a toxic situation. That is not at all. But two things can be true at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a toxic situation. It can be something you're letting go of. It's something you can still say that was not okay.
Right. Yes.
Like, it's not okay you did that, but there was a gift I would not have had you not done that.
Right. The
And
resilience.
That's what I'm going
Yes.
to go with.
Totally.
That's what I am going to hold on to. You
Totally.
know, is it okay that my bio father was an abusive alcoholic who left a path of destruction, including myself with everyone? No, it's not
Right.
at all. But what gift did that give me? That gave me the ability to talk to women who are maybe not as far down the path as I
Yes.
am in the healing process. And I
Yes.
understand where they are because
Right.
I've been there.
That is true. That is so, so true. Yes. So that was a big one for me. The other one that another one of my children brought up was, so my husband and I, we were 21 and we had only known each other, I don't know, a couple months maybe. We'd actually already gone ring shopping because we were actually like kind of already, you know,
I
into
did not
each other.
know this part of the story.
Yes.
You had already gone ring
Yeah,
shopping?
like just kind of for fun, you
When
know.
you know, I guess.
Right. And like probably a month later, we were pregnant. We were not engaged. We were 21, shocked, both of us shocked. And I remember I called my sister, and she's amazing. And she was like, get dressed. I'm coming to pick you up. And we went to Half Price Books, and we bought like every single baby book you could think of, like what to eat, what the baby's doing, all the books. And then when I did go to my dad, who's that rock of a person, and I said, I'm pregnant. Cam and I are pregnant. And my dad said, what do you want to do? Do you want to have this baby? Do you not? Do you want to get married? Do you not? I had already bought a condo at this point. And he was like, do you need a bigger home? Do you not? Whatever you want to do, we're going to do that. And I was just like, okay, I want to get married. I want to have the baby, and I do not need to move or anything. And he's like, okay. And that was it. It was no screaming, yelling. And I wish I could say I would probably be the same way, but I don't know. I mean, he's so calm. It's that introverted side. He's never explosive or angry. And I wonder too, like in our time in high school together, I think he learned to trust me and trust my judgment, and that I would follow through with whatever. Like I did also drop out of college before the baby situation and went to cosmetology school 2 weeks later in Chicago. Like he just dropped me off and was like, bye. And I was like, bye. But again, no hesitation. The minute I was like, I want to drop out and go to beauty school, he's like, okay, great. I'll pick you up Saturday. Like, I think once again, it all works out for this greater good. Like that harsh reality of like losing my mom at 16 in my everyday life turned out to be the biggest blessing, because these other hard chapters were coming down the road, and I was going to need my dad to know Marcy's got this.
Mm-hmm. And that's the gift.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, from there, like, we had the baby, and later we moved to Springboro, and then we, everything worked out great. We had 2 more children and happily married 20 years. And but I think there's plenty of people that would have, once again, I'm lucky that my husband's amazing, but I think there are plenty of people that would have really struggled with that much coming at them, at a time.
For sure, especially today. I mean, I just think about my girls and, I'm thinking, oh my gosh. But it is interesting, because I was thinking the whole time you were talking, it's no wonder we connected, because we both have some commonalities. We're very independent. We were forced into independence young.
Right.
And we were both very independent. We were both on our own at very young ages. I mean, I'm living on South Beach I'm not even drinking age at that point, in an apartment.
Yeah.
Working in downtown Miami, while my parents my stepfather, my mom, he adopted me. So when I say my parents, that's who I'm referring to. My parents were 3 hours away,
Yeah,
and,
wow.
we had no fear.
Right.
And I think that is also a component of healing and it's not maybe that we didn't have the fear, it's that we pushed through the fear.
Yeah, felt like we could handle it.
Yeah, it's just, and that's how you build that confidence, and you shift out of that
Yeah.
mentality of victim mode. Is you have to like trust yourself.
Yes.
But the only way you can trust yourself is to put yourself into situations where that trust has to be formed.
True. And that can be scary. I think that can actually be scary for a lot of parents with their children, because they are scared. The parent is scared.
Oh, for sure.
Not just the kid. And so I think that's when parents are, whatever, helicopter mom or lawnmower dad or whatever. There's all these terms. They just want to smooth it over. They never want their kid to have a trial or tribulation. And it's actually robbing them of the opportunity to be confident.
And the experiences. That's another common thread that we have that I don't think a lot of parents at our age do, is both of our girls, or both of us have our daughters who have traveled abroad. They've been in Europe without us at young ages.
Yes.
I mean, I left Sarah at 15 and a half in Germany for a month, and find your way home. Like, we knew how she was going to get home, but it's like,
you left some breadcrumbs. You're like,
is she going to navigate these airports? Okay. I don't know. We'll just pray and hope. And but she did. And, Caroline, when she was going on college visits for tennis, I remember all of our friends, that had daughters in the tennis world that were also going through this process of college visits. the coaches, when you have an official visit, will, fly you to there, and then all the parents are going with them. And we're just like, here you go, baby. Go to Atlanta. Have a good time. We'll pick you up.
Yeah.
And it's like, figure it out.
Right.
Figure it out.
Yes.
I could have figured it out at that age. You are a smart woman. You can figure this out.
Right. And I do think that's something like both my parents did very well. Like, they believed in me and that I had the confidence in what I needed to do and not do. And I remember I quit basketball my freshman year because it wasn't my sport anymore. And I didn't even ask my parents. I was just like, hey, by the way, quit basketball, doing speech and debate instead. And my dad was like, okay, like no big deal. I wasn't like, should I do this or am I allowed? It was like, no, go for it.
Yeah. So it's interesting, and maybe we'll talk about this on another episode, but there is those things that we thought maybe weren't for us. It wasn't typical of what we were seeing other parents do or whatever. Because mine were the same way. Like, I always looked at it like they were a little bit too checked out on my life. But now I look at it and I'm like, thank God, because I was able to develop all these skills so young.
Yes.
That I'm still using today.
Right.
Totally. That I wouldn't have had the chance to do that had they been a different kind of parent.
Totally.
And so then it kind of, I don't want people who are hearing this to think if you didn't come from that, you can't have that still.
Yes.
You might have had the smothering mother.
Sure.
Or, the overbearing father. You might have come from that place. It's just one more thing you have to shift.
Yes.
Shameless plug.
Okay, yes. Seriously, though. Seriously. Okay.
Okay, so here is a question I have for you. So what is your most, when things are dark, when you are having the worst day?
Yes.
What is the thought that always anchors you back?
It would be something like, what if I'm wrong? Like, if I'm really wrestling with a hard shame, blame storm, I just try to poke a hole in the storyline. Like, but what if I'm wrong? Or what if it all works out just fine? This is like not even a big thing.
And I've heard you say it a million times.
Yeah.
Like, what if it could be even better?
Yeah. What if it's fine? What if we're just, because the problem is you waste so much like time and energy and brain space with negative, anxious thoughts that are optional. And there's some crazy statistic, like 85% of the things that we're like anxiously afraid of never even happen. And then of those things that do happen, like I forget, it's something like less than 15 or 15% or even as bad as we thought it would be. I mean, it's like really small numbers. So yeah, that would be it. That's like when I'm in a shame spiral or struggling, like, what if it was meant to be this way? What if it works out? What if it's just fine? Yeah. What's yours?
Mine is I can do hard things. I've done much harder things than this.
That's good.
Yeah. So every time I get into something that's just really overwhelming, that's where I go to.
Yeah.
Because nothing can be harder than what I went through in the first 6 years of my life.
Wow.
Yes. And I survived it.
Yes.
I thrived out of it.
Right.
So
That's
yeah,
good.
Nothing.
That's really good. That's
Yeah.
good. I think that's a good note to end on.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. All right, that's our shift for today.
Go live, laugh, and do one bold thing before the next episode drops.
Follow us at No More BullShift and keep the conversation going.
Because if you can't laugh about it,
You probably still need to shift it.